Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today. Please tell us your full name, a little bit about where you were born and grew up, and your family of origin.
My name is Shirley Dettloff, and I was born in Glendale, California. Spent my elementary school years in Oregon, Eugene, Oregon. The family moved back to California, and we settled in Burbank, California, where I went to high school, and then I went on to college at the University of California at Santa Barbara. I come from a family of two girls, mother and father, a very normal family. We were brought up in the 50s, and we lived the life of Leave It to Beaver, and I really came into my own when I moved to Huntington Beach, California, where I became very active in the community.
What religion were you raised in, if any?
We were not churchgoers. If I had to put down a religion, I was baptized in the First Christian Church, and that is where my parents were baptized. It was where I was married, but until very recently I have not been a regular churchgoer.
Are you going now?
I started going about a year ago. A group of friends in Huntington Beach were associated with a church locally, the Presbyterian Church, and it was a relatively new church. And I thought it was about time that I learned something of religion, because I had not been raised in that atmosphere, and so I have attended and found it a very good and educational experience.
What was it that first got you interested in politics?
Well, I think moving to Huntington Beach, and I'm going to give all the credit to the League of Women Voters. When I first came to Huntington Beach, I was a young married with 3 very small children, and a friend asked if I would go with her to one of the very first meetings of the League of Women Voters here in Huntington Beach. And I was taken by the enthusiasm of the women, women who really wanted to understand how government works, and I felt that I'd really found a place for myself here in this community, and that was the beginning. And I learned a lot about our community. I was part of a program called Know Your Town, which every new league has to do, and that's to become acquainted with what's happening in your community. And so I chaired that group, and we met with all of the leaders in the community, both governmental and social leaders here. Learned a great deal about a community that I was going to come to love and to be very much a part of in the ensuing years. And so the League really was the foundation for all of the work that I have done from 1964 on.
If there was one project that you worked on with the League that seemed exemplary, could you mention it now?
First major project that I was a party to and certainly a participant in was a study that the League did, and that's what I so respect about the League. They just don't go in and take a position. They do a study on every position they take. And the study was a local study, and it was the study of the Bolsa Chica. And the Bolsa Chica was this 2,000-acre area that was slated for development. It was a wetlands, and through a very thorough study by the League, they determined that it was an area that needed to be saved. That study led to the Amigos de Bolsa Chica, which I was a founding member of, and this group has been working for the past 37 years, and they reached their goal, and that was to save the Bolsa Chica wetlands, over 2,000 acres. And that came out of the League of Women Voters study. During all this time, I was approached by, I started serving on some committees. Because of the League of Women Voters, I was on the very first environmental board that the city had ever established, and it's still functioning today. I was one of the first members of that board, and not only was able to use my environmental knowledge, but also learn much about how cities are run, because it was a city board. And as I said today, it is still functioning and still very much a part of the decision-making process in this city. And so I served on that, but at the same time, I was starting to get interested in politics. And my first real effort was I was asked to become a part of the campaign of the gentleman who was to become our assembly member. Dennis Mangers was his name, and he served in the state assembly. And he was a Democrat, and this is a very tough district for a Democrat. Orange County has always been known for its Republican stands, and so it was very rare that we could elect a Democrat, but he was elected. And I was a part of that campaign. I did voter registration. The political bug had then struck. I wanted to become involved in my community, and so I eventually was, through working on many, many committees, though I was appointed to the Planning Commission. But as a Planning Commissioner, I learned an enormous amount of good, solid information, and I enjoyed the experience immensely. But when my city council member was termed out, I knew that I was going to, if I wanted to continue with my involvement in city government, I was going to have to run for city council. And that year I ran, was elected, came in the second largest vote getter out of 22 candidates. Ralph Bauer came in first.